Marco Rossi. Obviously, we're going to be talking about it until a trade consummates, but Matteo did God's work and threw out the bat signal to plenty of reactionary commenters about mock Marco Rossi trades that we're going to review, discuss. I'm sure some of them are extremely unhinged. Some, hopefully, are realistic. We'll see how it goes. First couple here from Mini Filipino. Rossi and Ogren for Larkin. It's going to take more than that.
Yeah, I mean, if Detroit wants to do that, I'd be like, all right.
If Detroit does that, you get that executed as fast as possible. I will say, it's funny because, like, I totally get where Russo's coming from, but he's like, yeah, I just don't think a little rift between Yzerman and Larkin is going to derail everything and lead to them trading their captain and star player. And I'm like, yeah, definitely not in Steve Yzerman's bag to take the star player of his team, who's the captain, and trade him because of a dispute. That's never happened once in his history. Well, at least not since he's been in Detroit. God bless Marty St. Louis. Fuck you, Yzer plan. But yeah, I wouldn't rule out Larkin being traded, but it's probably less likely. But it's Rossi, Ogren, and probably another legitimate prospect or a first rounder or something like that to even like get that discussion started, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, look what happens if you take Larkin out of that lineup. You know what I like? It's like not just.
What about a fourth line center like Marco Rossi though? That plugs the hole.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see them moving on from Larkin. Like I just don't see it happening. Like I put that at like a 10%. Unless he like demands to leave, which I don't think he would. But yeah, I mean, you're adding at least 2 pieces, and then maybe like Detroit adds like a 5th.
Yeah, who cares at that point? And to be honest, though, like we've seen it before. Everyone's so afraid to trade prospects or even good players. Like, dude, how did Florida become Florida? They took a big swing that everyone criticized, sending their leading scorer and a legitimate like top 4 defenseman for Matthew Tkachuk. And is Dylan Larkin Matthew Tkachuk? No. For the Minnesota Wild, does he help as much? Arguably, yes. So I'll give them whatever they want, short of Boldy, Kaprizov, Faber, Bouillon. Like, tell me your price, Yzerman. I'm in.
Yeah.
Next one, Lizard to Kaprizov to Lizard to Kaprizov. Rossi for Dylan Guenther. Armstrong hangs up the phone immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if that would necessarily be intriguing for like the Wild. Like, I think that's one that both GMs are like, what? So like just the same guy, or like not the same guy, but like something that we have. Like, I mean, you look at the prospects that Minnesota has. Like, obviously, Dylan Guenther rocks. He had a really good start. He got hurt at one point, slowed down a little bit. He's a really good player. He's going to score a ton of goals. But yeah, I would imagine it's probably a non-starter. I mean, honestly, for both.
Why for both?
I mean, I don't think. Like, I love Dylan Guenther, but I don't necessarily. Like, that doesn't really for Marco Rossi, that doesn't really move the needle for me.
I don't know. 5 inches moves the needle a lot for Bill Guerin.
He is tall.
And like with some of the things that we're gonna like, realistically, we don't know what the market is for Rossi. Like they could have absolutely tanked his value. Like I could see way worse returns than Guenther happening.
Right. Yeah.
If that was on the table, I say yes immediately. Personally.
Yeah.
I think he's that caliber of player, but he's not a center. I get it. I just don't think you're going to have to be adding so much to a Marco Rossi trade to bring back a center. I don't know. I just don't see it happening. Luke Sims, Rossi, Spacek, 26 first, 27 third, and 5th, and Stramel.
Oh my God.
For Tage Thompson. I am very outspoken. I don't think Tage Thompson is going anywhere unless Tage Thompson says he wants the hell out. this is at least like closer. I think Spacek is absolutely the wrong name. I think you got to throw in like a legitimate defenseman prospect if you want this kind of trade to go through. But like you do that, it at least on the surface is a reasonable trade. This is the most like realistic one that I think we've heard. Assuming Tage Thompson was out the door.
Right.
What do you think?
I mean, I don't know if it's just like the volume of assets going one way. It feels crazy. I mean, but if you got to do all that to bring Tage here, like, sure.
Again,
I don't know. Like I can't like wrap my brain around like all of that going. But again, like yeah, Rossi is one thing. I don't. Again, with Buffalo too, it's just like when you look at the prospects they have coming,
they're not going to do it.
Right.
Agreed. But as far as like a fair trade, I think this is close to being a fair trade. It's just they're not moving Tage Thompson. If they do, they need someone that's not exactly a carbon copy of everyone in their prospect pool. And maybe that's where it's not your first line center, but that's where Stramel at least plays a role.
I feel that feels like a lot of picks though. Like I mean, you could do fewer picks, but a better
defenseman than Spacek, yeah. Like literally just make it Rossi, Lambos, 26 first, Stramel. Which I still think is probably a touch spendy.
Yeah.
But like I'm not saying no if that's what's there.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, Tage Thompson I don't think is going anywhere, especially not in a Marco Rossi trade. And Luke, it pains me to say that because I would love to see Tage Thompson here. But yeah. We got more. Slick Rick says Rossi and Spurgeon for Tage Thompson. Again, I don't think the fit is there from Buffalo's perspective, but I don't hate it if it made more sense for the team. Like I think Rossi and Spurgeon could be an interesting package for other teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think Buffalo's hanging up the phone.
Yeah. Again, because of what we talked about before, they have a ton of small skilled guys.
Plus, I mean, just look at the runway, like how much time you still have with Tage Thompson, how much time you have left with like Spurs. You know what I mean?
Okay. What if it's Rossi and Brodin? Does that change it at all?
Still, no, I don't think so.
Danielson says Rossi and Spurgeon for Elias Pettersson. I personally don't think that Bill Guerin will bring Elias Pettersson here.
Yeah.
But
I'm fascinated to know what the league perception is around Elias Pettersson at this point. Like,
not great.
Because just knowing how NHL, GM, scouts, whatever, like value players, like especially when they would look at like a JT Miller versus Elias Pettersson. Like, I'm sure he scares 31 other GMs. Especially like, I mean, the contract is like the biggest part of that, but like,
I'm gonna go very much in the like Mitch Marner ilk though, where get him in a quiet market, and I'm interested. Like if Columbus could acquire him, he's probably not going to waive for them, but like that'd be interesting to me, right? Carolina probably isn't a good fit, so bad example. Like Utah makes sense. I don't know what the trade looks like, but those are the kinds of teams that I'm like, yeah, take a swing because the talent is absolutely there. And there's no doubt that being in Vancouver is part of what's going on, but you can't blame it all on that.
Yeah, I mean,
I say it goes in New York.
Yeah, boy, wouldn't be totally not toxic. I should have said from the jump too. I'm always so bad at like creating trades in my head because like sometimes these trades happen. I'm like, huh? like that's
Bob
the package?
McKenzie, it's one for one.
Like I couldn't even begin to tell you what is or isn't realistic. It's just like in my own head. Like
there's two different realistics though. Is it realistic for each organization, or is it a realistic, like a fair and equitable trade? I can evaluate that.
That's the part where I'm like, I don't know. The fits for each team maybe is more like, hey, is that player good here? Are these good fits there? It's the what does the transaction look like? I'm like, fuck, I have no idea anymore. Again, just watching how some of these trades have gone down the last like 3-4 years, I'm like, I don't know anything. This is crazy. I don't I can't value shit. But like with the you mentioned like the Marner Pedersen similarities. Like for me, it's also like, hey, those are two of the best players in the league at their position. I think they can win. Can they be your horse? You know what I mean? Like, can they be your guy, like the guy to win you the cup or whatever? Like, I don't think either one of them probably.
No,
Pedersen has the one
really
seed pedigree, but can he be your dog, like to win you that cup? I don't know.
No, I don't think either necessarily can, but that's also partly in the makeup of like they're not dogs, right? Like the talent, yes. If you've got the right guy playing adjacent to them, that might be what it takes to propel them and free them up to go and do what they do best.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't think either of them are dogs. I think they're both like immensely talented, right? But like JT Miller, dog.
Yep.
Matty Nyes, dog.
Was that the kid that's talking about his teammates? Like dog. Also a dog.
That's basically, I'm just doing my best impression of my kid, where if we go out, every time we see a dog, he lights up. It's arf arf, arf arf.
The best.
It's incredible because like there are times where he notices it before I do. Like all of a sudden I just hear him go arf arf. I'm like, wait, where? Oh shit, there's a dog. Cool.
I like where he heads that kid. Show me.
Good people. But yeah, the Spurgeon Brodeen stuff is going to be interesting to watch as the summer goes, because like I could see one of them being moved if it like makes sense, because I like the idea of getting a little bit of a shift in the blue line and like making it so that some of these kids are going to get a chance to play. You can't move both, in my opinion. That just like takes you too many steps back and removes a lot of what makes the Minnesota Wild go. You're going to probably get more for Brodeen, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also why I kind of would rather keep him. But I don't know. That's something we're going to probably talk about more in future weeks. Let's keep going with the Rossi stuff. What do we got, Mateo? Rossi and 2026 first for Tage Thompson. Yeah, you're of truther. I don't think that's anywhere in the stratosphere of what they'd want in return. And we've already kind of exhausted the Tage Thompson discussion. Jasama, I'm not even going to try. Give them a Liam Ogren and second rounder. Is that a response to your of truther? Is that maybe in place of the first? I'm a little confused. I don't know exactly what's going on there.
Anyone take them. Take the anyone. Just give them. Yes, we'll take nothing, please.
Liam Ogren and second rounder, future considerations.
Okay, so it is like the first, second Ogren and Rossi.
First, second Ogren, Rossi for Thompson. I mean, that's super pricey, but again, like if you told me that that's a trade that Bill Guerin made, I'm not going to sit here and like pound my fist on the table. Mm-hmm. I'm like, hell yeah, Tage Thompson.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, I'm okay with it. All right, Nick Johnson. I would love Tage, but I wonder if there is any hard feelings since he was snubbed from the USA squad. Rossi and Spurge for Larkin in the third. That Larkin trade not happening, Nick. Tage Thompson, maybe that's part of the pitch to get him here is like, yo, dude, you come here and you're happy, you're going to be on Team USA. So,
yeah,
let's go.
I don't know if there's a whole lot. I mean, to like the sort of like the hard feelings go or whatever. I can't imagine, like, let's say
Can you? I can't imagine a player holding a grudge against a GM for not putting them on an Olympic roster.
Mhm.
Again, we're going to go back to the Yzerman St. Louis stuff. Sorry, I can't help myself.
Yeah.
But no, probably no hard feelings.
Yeah.
Matthew says Rossi for Beniers and a fifth. Well, first off, we're getting nothing added to Beniers in a Rossi trade. Rossi, Ogren, and 26 first, and another prospect like Kiviharu or Richie for Larkin. Again, I think that's like a realistic trade. Do I think it's going to happen? No, but that I think is a fair Larkin offer.
Yep, that's the mold of a move, probably.
Yeah, no, so good call, Matthew. I like where your head's at as far as like fair value. Unfortunately, I think Tage and Larkin are both going to be off limits, but we'll see. Tyler Trombley says Rossi, Juracek, 26 first for Pasta. Z, I'll let you take this one.
I mean, it's a no, but it's going to be. So this is like what's fascinating to me is like how much Minnesota gives up for someone like Juracek. And then if they're moving out Marco Rossi, the fact that they've done nothing but tank his value between the playoffs and then the few months leading up to the playoffs. Like you gave up all that for Juracek, who like you're gonna be trying to find a spot in the lineup for him next season. Obviously there's a big injury recovery ahead for him, given the fact that he had a fucking ruptured spleen. So you spend all of that who for a guy like Juracek, who I love. It did look good in his cup of coffee in the NHL with Minnesota. Those 5 or 6 games. Given the scenario he found himself in, especially. But then you're potentially moving out your second leading scorer, 23-year-old center who you drafted top 10. You've just tanked his value over the last few months. So like that's where I'm like, this has been kind of like mind-boggling asset management almost. But
yep.
That's the first. Whenever I see those two names together, like the discrepancy between this, like the valuing your assets, it's crazy.
The GM on the other side of that is like it's got to be like Dallas, right? Like that screams Dallas being like, okay, yeah, these two guys have diminished value, and we know how good they can be. We'll take them off your hands. Yeah. Imagine throwing Juracek onto that blue line and throwing Marco Rossi in as a middle six center. Oh, that's how it's going to go too. Blech. Rossi's going to end up with Colorado or Dallas, and we're going to live to regret it. All right, C Money Mike, Rossi and Hinestroza to Washington for Dylan Strome and Brandon Duhaime, mainly just to bring back Duhaime and the vibes. Love where your head's at. This trade gets laughed out the door. Hinestroza has 0 trade value. We picked him up off waivers, and he was serviceable for us. I don't think that Dylan Strome is going anywhere. Brandon Duhaime could be had, and I wouldn't mind having him back. He'd be a good 4th liner for a lot of reasons. But no, Dylan Strome pretty firmly planted in Washington.
He's been fucking phenomenal there. I think he just re-signed on a long-term deal too.
Yep.
He has been unbelievable for them, though. I still can't believe Chicago just were like, no thanks. Dude,
it's part of the tank. It was part of the tank.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean that's a non-starter for Washington. If if they say yes to that, Billy Gary would be like, oh, we need several private jets to fly these guys out here.
Cole says he wasn't sure who to add as the second wild guy. If you really wanted to make a trade like this work, like it is probably more of like a Rossi Ogren, right?
I mean,
that's at least a conversation. You're not being hung up on. It's like, okay, let's talk through this. Like, what else can we do? But Hinestroza is just a no value piece there.
I don't think the Dylan Strome part's just the
Probably.
conversation ender for Washington. Like, it's like, nope. Unless you come to me
Honestly,
with the
how
greatest
great would it
offers
be if
humanly possible.
Washington, now that what's his name? Jesus. Why can't I think of his name now? The outcast everywhere. Big ass center. Dubois.
Oh,
They just take him having a good year, flip him out for like a big return. And it's like, haha, gotcha.
That would be, yeah.
And of course, you've got Rob Blake just like beating the shit out of himself.
Yeah.
In front of the mirror.
Yeah.
Johnny Banana, is there not one decent realistic trade to read? We've had like two that I think were in the ballpark. But yeah, there's a lot of them that I think that the biggest thing with this exercise is I think there's a big misunderstanding of what Rossi's value is.
Mm-hmm.
No GM is coming to you. As soon as there are two teams, Rossi's value is back where it should have been, right? Because you've got two teams that are interested. But every team knows that you don't want this guy. It could not be more clear. If we know that Rossi's out, they all know it. So you need to have a bidding war or Marco Rossi's value is absolute shit. Period. Mm-hmm. Now, could there be multiple teams that are interested in his services? Yeah. Do I think that you're going to get fair value on him? Probably not. But if you can come close or if you can package him plus and get a legitimate top 6 center, there's a world where I forgive it and I'm okay to move on. But no, right now, the way that they have treated Marco Rossi in general, crushed his value, as you and I have mentioned, not just today, but endlessly for the past couple months. I don't understand how you can mismanage this asset so bad. And I don't see this trade being one that we win. I just hope it's not one that we aggressively lose.
Unless it is legitimately a massive like package, both sides, whatever, it's gonna be an underwhelming trade. We know that they want space to spend. In theory, I know that we're not gonna go over the space that's already been used. We're not doing that right now. But like, they have been itching to hit free agents. It scares the shit out of me that when you look at the UFAs this season, and the one name that constantly comes up, and Ben Hankinson has said that there would be potentially mutual interest in this happening, would be like the Brock Nelson thing, who's whatever, 34, 35.
I'm so bummed.
But like, I still, again, unless it's part of a massive package where you're probably still giving up more than you're comfortable giving up for that top 6 center, which I still don't even think that trade realistically is out there. Like, it's gonna be an underwhelming return. Like, they're not gonna it's
gonna be futures, man. It's gonna be futures.
Or it's like the agent's gonna go out there and shop for like a fucking offer sheet, and then like the Wild decide, like, all right, do we take the picks or whatever.
Rossi plus Ogren for Mishkov. I'd love it, but no chance.
It'd be insane. Again,
Rossi for Bedard, straight up. Rossi to Boston for 7th overall. Z, what do you say?
It's not, no.
Marco Rossi plus Ogren plus 3rd for Nyes. That's just not happening. Matty Nyes is not leaving Toronto. There's like, they will match whatever offer sheet's thrown, I would think, unless Dubas is going to be like outlandish and offer like 11 mil, which, hey, who knows? Honestly, if he does it, I won't even be mad. I'll buy a jersey immediately. I love Matty Nyes so much. Him in Pittsburgh would be so fun.
On the other side of your camera. Just hang it on the other side.
Yeah. I don't know. It's only bad luck for... Oh, no, that's not true. I had the Pittsburgh Zucker up for a little bit. Rossi 7x7 extension. I would love it.
Again, oh yeah, so that's what I was looking at the other day. I pulled up that AFP analytics because they do like the contract projections, and they've been pretty close on like pretty much everything they've thrown out. And it was like they gave 2 scenarios out there for like a Rossi extension, short term and long term. And like the long term
Short term's
was like
not happening anymore.
right. It was like 2 years, 5 something. And the long term was like 7 by 7.3, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, that's the value.
That would be great.
That makes sense.
God.
And guess what?
Yeah.
He takes that. Even a 7x5, like 7 mil, 5 years. Like the fact, even Russo has come out and said that the 5x5 is a fair offer. I just don't agree. Sorry, he didn't come out and say it. He said it with Joe and I on our show, but like, I basically just made faces and then didn't address it because he's going to win any fight. So I let it go. But I don't think it's a disrespectful offer. I want to be clear on that. 5x5 isn't disrespectful. But if they think that that's their top offer and they're not going to go past it, lunacy, insane, psychotic behavior, just weird behavior. I don't understand it. I'll never understand it. Why draft a 5'9" player if you're going to hold being 5'9" against him? I'll never get it.
Yeah, well, here we are.
Terry Anderson, Brodeen plus Rossi plus Kiviharu or Ogren to Buffalo for Tage Thompson. And JJ Peterka. Yeah, lost him. You'd be getting just Tage Thompson in that scenario. Maybe something else with him, but you're not getting Thompson and Peterka in that package. There's no way.
Tage Thompson is not if he was to land in Minnesota,
be very fun.
You are losing. Take your pick. I mean, it's Booyam. They're the first player they're asking for.
I could see. What if it was
I just like to me, unless Tage Thompson like aggressively says, I am out and I have 3 teams I would like to go to and I will make them all public. There's this. He is never. I am going to be aggressive about this. He will never be here.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, there's no way. And like,
I'd love to be wrong.
If it were to happen again, the centerpiece of the Wild package going back the other way is like Marco Rossi would be like.
Marco Rossi's the 3rd guy on that list.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
There's no way that Buffalo can do that.
Oh,
so
agreed. Rossi and Spacek to Buffalo for Kulich and Buffalo's 25 first. I'm going to be honest. I'll tell myself I don't know enough about Kulich to weigh in.
He's phenomenal. Buffalo. That's a hard no from Buffalo.
Hard no for Buffalo.
Yeah. Again, like all we've done is tank fucking Marco Rossi's value. Like,
hang on though. Let's talk about this one, Z. Cole brings up Pinto, and I've seen a lot of different trade offers involving Pinto. How do you value Shane Pinto as a center? Like, where does he project for I won't call it a cup team, but for like a contending team?
He's a solid 3C.
Right.
And
I've seen a lot of trade offers that most of the trade offers that I've seen are like us thinking we're going to get way more in return than we should. I've seen a couple people saying like Rossi and a first and something for Pinto. And like, I'm saying hard no on that.
Yeah, that's
Rossi for Pinto straight up. We could do worse.
Yeah.
Like I could live with that. Cole also brings one up here. Rossi and a 3rd for Kirby Doc.
I think Kirby Doc at this point, I just don't. He's had so many fucking injuries.
That's the thing. Like, if you promised me that Kirby Doc would stay healthy, okay.
Man.
Interested for sure. But yeah,
it's sad how fucking hard he's had like bad injuries too, and like he's another one of those guys had a couple bad injuries and like just unfucking lucky injuries. Like that one when his hand like exploded at a fucking like exhibition game for the World Juniors. That was so sad.
Yeah,
but
he was on such a good trajectory.
Mm-hmm. He was very fun.
But it would have been in Chicago, so I'm not like totally heartbroken.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is just depressing.
Again,
Cosmo.
it's like
Cosmo says, would you take Cap at 13 and Rossi at 7 by 7? First off, Rossi 7 by 7, I think is an absolutely fair and reasonable signing, and I wish that Bill Guerin wasn't such a bitch about it and he would do it. Caprizov is making more than 13. If he signs for 13, they better erect a statue the next day. Like,
it better be done right now already.
Yeah, they're already working on it, and it's not the people who did Dwayne Wade's because, oh my God, monstrosity. I think Kaprizov is getting 15.
Wouldn't be.
And I don't have whatever they pay him, I will accept.
Yeah, I don't care.
As long as he's not going to bitch. Like if he took 16 by 8 and then bitches that he doesn't have guys to play with, sorry, dude, I don't fucking care. That's what freaking Mad Men. That's what the money's for.
Fun fact: never watched the show.
Great show, but I understand why it's not for everyone.
Oh, interesting. But yeah, I mean that's the thing. You're giving Carell. Yeah, that's just the fact.
Rossi for Owen Tippett. Then give Sam Bennett the bag. I don't think Sam Bennett's coming here, but I wouldn't be mad if he did. Rossi for Tippett. I mean, bringing a guy in that doesn't have a soul is questionable, but aside from that, what do you think?
I love Owen Tippett. He's a really good player. I mean, the last couple of years, he's scored like 25, 30, right? Like, I don't know how much more there is there, but I mean, it's that again at that point, it's just center for wing. Like I don't know, but I like Tippett a lot. He's a good player. I mean, if you got a guy that's gonna give you 30 goals, if you can move out Rossi, bring in a guy that's gonna play in your top six and score 30 goals, all right. Like, yeah, I even then, like I don't know, but he just re-signed a long-term deal there too. I think it was like 7-year deal like a year ago. But I mean, I love Owen. He's a very fun player. He's a prick to play against too. Super skilled, ridiculous shot. That was one of the really nice things that like moving out Giroud out of Philly to Florida. Like that was a nice get. No one tip it there. So
yeah.
But yeah.
Huh.
We can't have that many more, can we?
I think we've hit offer Bennett 7.5. He's gonna get more than that. I hate to tell you, Bob. What do you think, Z? How much do you think Bennett's gonna make? I think he's in the 8s or 9s.
I think
someone will pay it.
Surprisingly less than people assume.
If it's in Florida, sure.
Given his age, and it's like, is he gonna pop anywhere? Like, is he gonna pop like 25, 30 goals outside of Florida? Like, he's in the perfect situation right now. So
agreed. But if he gets the money, he doesn't give a fuck.
I mean, I think it's crazy to give him 9, 8, too. Like,
I'm not questioning whether it's crazy. I'm saying that's what's gonna happen if it's not in Florida.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Someone will do it.
He's gonna be overpaid.
Yeah.
But he's the guy that, like, famously, right? There's guys that get you there, and there's guys that get you through.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy that the Minnesota Wild need to get you through.
Right.
Honestly, the guy that I want the Minnesota Wild to get, and funny enough, Russo mentioned it on his podcast, and I thought I was going to be on an island with this take. I want Corey Perry. Very badly.
Watching him just, like, score at will in the playoff. I mean, at will. But, like, in the playoffs, like, there were a couple of games where McDavid and Draisaitl didn't, like, just go nuts. Him, Perry's like, I'm a scorer from closer than Zach Hyman. I'm gonna be in the net. I'm still gonna do it.
Exactly.
And he is such a fucking asshole to play against. It's unreal.
Am I the only person that doesn't hate Corey Perry? Like, I actually really like him.
Oh, I find him. I think he's funny as hell. The one sad thing about Trent Frederick going to Edmonton is that they won't fight anymore. because Perry would always like there were a few times he would bait him into fights, and then Frederick would just put an absolute beating on him. And then there was one game that like I think Perry was just looking to cross check anyone on the Bruins one night, and he did it. And then it was Trent Frederick, and he turned. He was like, "Ah, fuck!" And they dropped the gloves. And Frederick just beat the ever living Christ out of him.
Anthony, I love you for this.
It is like that. Like Perry honestly might play another fucking 3 years in this league, 3-4. Like he's not
one more year.
Yeah, well,
did you see that presser?
Yeah,
There's a kid in the background like, "Mom says one more year."